This week's Torah portion of Parshat Tezave continues with what would seem the esoteric business, so to speak, or tidings of ordering, performing the mitzvot that are connected to the construction of the Mishkan, the tabernacle, which is a rather foreign entity to us, and the Bigdei Kohen, the various adornments and clothing that the Kohen would adorn in service of Hashem. And what we struggle with particularly when we come to these Parshiot HaShavua, these Torah portions regarding the Mishkan, the tabernacle, the Bigdei Kohen, the servitude of the Kohen within the confines of the tabernacle, which are all very, very foreign to us. We don't understand them. We don't really appreciate them, perhaps, because we don't really know what exactly they entailed. Now, obviously, the Torah describes them in detail, but there are many subliminal messages that Chazal took from the various servitudes for us to internalize in our own lives, particularly with regards to our own spiritual subservience of Hashem. One of them is, for example, in last week's Parsha, the Torah describes the construction of the Aron Kodesh, the main pinnacle, the epicenter of the entire service of the Mishkan. And in the description of the Aron, it would be covered, mibayit ubechutz titzapenu zahav. It would be covered both outside, externally, and internally. The inner part of the Aron as well was covered with gold, or gold-plated. And the question is why? Chazal say that from here we can learn the concept that a Tamid Chacham shelo tocho keboro eno Tamid Chacham. A scholar or a righteous person is expected to behave externally the same way that he is expected to behave internally. But perhaps there is another message with regards to the Aron that also can be seen in this week's Parsha. This week's Parsha begins with the construction of the menorah, the lights that glorified and that illuminated the confines of the Mishkan. And this menorah, the candles, the light, the eternal flame, always represents classically the concept of spirituality. Kiner mitzvah v'torah or. The Torah is illuminated, so to speak, or compared to the flames that kindle and that kindred a person's spirit. Ner Hashem nishmat adam, the neshama, the spirit of a person, the soul of a person, is compared to a flame that always flickers and never is extinguished. As we know personally, those nishamot, those souls who are lost to us, can continue to influence and permeate within our lives, in our physical confines, within their spiritual realm. As I have explained many times, particularly with stories having to do with Gila, our loss, and how her spiritual confines still find themselves within our parameters. And at the beginning of this week's Parsha, in the construction of the menorah, the Torah says very clearly, Ba'oel moed michutz laparochet ya'aroch oto. Inside the Oel Moed, it should be constructed, the menorah, michutz laparochet, but on the outside of the curtain, you should set up the menorah. And so there is emphasis also with the menorah on something that is inside, in the confines of the Mishkan, the tabernacle, and also outside of the parochet, very similar to the Aron Kodesh, that should be covered inside with gold and outside with gold. Why? And I think the message of the Torah, what it's trying to tell us, or perhaps even a message, perhaps it's not telling us this, but something that we could take for ourselves, is that when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to morals, ethics, and a standard of living with a certain embracing of morals and values, we have to understand that those expectations are not things that we are expected to do only when we are within the confines of the Spirit. Only when we find ourselves within the confines of a synagogue, of a Beit Midrash, a place of learning Torah, or a place that is designated specifically for the service of Hashem. No, we are expected to be able to take that service from the inside to the outside. No matter where we go, no matter where we travel, no matter where we find ourselves venturing to in the course of our daily lives, we are expected to take that gold from within the Aron and to transfer it to outside the Aron. We are expected to take that light of spirituality, the kindred light of the menorah, from betoch ha'oel, from inside the confines of the tabernacle, michutz laparochet, to bring it outside as well. I remember a rabbi would always tell me that the Magid Medubna would tell the Vilna Gaon, it's one thing to be the Gaon Mevilna inside the yeshiva. Let's see you behave the same way and embrace those principles outside the yeshiva. And that is really our expectation. The Torah perhaps is coming to tell us, take your spirituality, take your servitude to Hashem, take your morals, ethics, and standards of living, and don't only follow them when you are surrounded by what would appear to be spiritual institutions, but take those spiritual institutions and allow them to surround you regardless of where you find yourself in your life. This way we can embrace a neshama, a spirit that may not be with us physically, but that continues to be with us spiritually no matter where we go. This is the Torah way, it is the Jewish way, and it always will remain the Gila way. Shabbat Shalom.